photo I sent over?
Well, did you just resend it?
No, I sent it earlier this morning, but
Yeah, I sent you a message back. You didn't include a photo.
oh, there you go.
You put the size, but you didn't include a photo.
Wasn't there one before that or no?
Was there?
Well, what I did, I sent the photo over, and then I sent the size.
Well, let me look.
But we'll see. I can always send it to you again.
I didn't see
Okay.
the other one.
Okay, I'll send it right as soon as we're done.
Yeah, that's fine.
Cool.
Yeah. So, good morning, everybody. This is Wes and my buddy Edge Roast. If you guys don't
how's
follow
everybody doing?
Ed,
Hey,
yeah,
man.
I am going to put Ed's information into the chat here. Edge Roast. Follow Ed if you don't follow him. He is a great guy, one of my best friends. And if you go to the link at the top of the broadcast here, what we're talking about is a company called Groove. Um, I want to be very forthright. Use the link in the just click on the page there um, in the chat if you have any interest in looking at what we're talking about. But what that is that is a opportunity that both Ed and I are part of that you can go through and do just a myriad of things. I put this up every time, and hopefully it will come across good this time if I put it in the broadcast there, and I think it did. What Groove will eventually do is take care of replacing all the stuff that you see in that particular infographic, and it personally is going to save me about $186 a month. So and it's free. So you can go through and look and see if there's any of those things that you currently use. But more importantly, in addition to it replacing that stuff, um, you don't have to Frankenstein it all together. And if you've ever tried to do that, it can be kind of maddening. So, Ed, I know that you used to do WordPress sites like that. And, one thing would go bad, and the next thing you know, things weren't coming up right. Oh, sorry,
Yeah.
Ed. I didn't mean to
Yeah,
bother
I
you.
think they've gotten a little more easier to work with, but back in the day, years ago, man, just trying to get if you embedded a video and it was out of whack and you had to come up with the right size and fit it in a little, any of those things, it was like crazy.
I found that the embed codes is something that work real well on WordPress and things like that. They don't seem to go crazy. I do a regular podcast in my other world for a tape company, international tape company called Mighty Line. And I've done the Warehouse Safety Tips podcast for this week will actually be the 80th week in a row. So, which is, amazing. That's a humble brag, but
Yeah, man.
when I hear it, I'm like, wow, 80 days. That's crazy. But
That's the old here West comes to save the day. The old Mighty Mouse, Mighty
yeah,
Line, Mighty Line. Here you go.
they're
Yeah.
very short and sweet and to the point. But I put the embed code from the company that we do work with. It's called Audio Boom. There's a myriad of them out there that will do the hosting and put your podcast up to iTunes and all that stuff. But the nice thing about the embed code with that is oh gosh, I'm so sorry, guys.
I gotta buy you a new brand of coffee, Wes. What
Yeah,
the hell's
no
going on
kidding,
here,
man.
man?
And
Man.
I'm drinking the Wakanda brand, man. It's
Oh,
strong
I
and
thought you
black.
were drinking yawn.
Yeah, no, yeah, it's crazy. But anyway,
You must have got the decaffeinated by mistake and you
I
didn't
must
know.
have, man.
Maybe that was it.
Yeah, I'm. Well, I'll tell you, I got up really early by accident.
Oh, don't
So,
do that.
but yeah, anyway, embedding stuff in, even though it goes real easy for me on that, there's going to be a point where if you want to have a funnel connected to it, and a funnel just is in the absolute simplest of terms, imagine a funnel being, if you're familiar with the term, I don't mean to make you sound dumb, because you're probably going to be like, it's much more complicated than that, Wes. But for those of you that don't know what a funnel is, every time you've ever went to something where it says, hey, if you want to get this information, enter your name and your email address. That's a capture page. And then it once you provide that, it probably takes you down a rabbit hole that, is everything from text and email messages, to a sales page, to, if you take that sales page, one-time offers. If you don't take the sales page, but wait, there's more, try this. And it will, take you through a myriad of options. But the thing that you need to know about those options is there's not a guy sitting on the other side, or a girl, sitting on the other side of the screen waiting for you to put that information in and then feverishly typing and trying to get the offers out. They make them once, keep them up to date, and then they just work like, free salesmen in the background for you indefinitely. There's a big marketer online. If you know him, great. If you don't, great. But his name is Ray Higdon. And I heard him talking probably, maybe a year ago now. And he said that he routinely, gets people that message him and say, hey, I joined so-and-so. And he'll say, well, that's great, but I haven't been in it for years. And so it's a situation where some of those people, will bow out of something, and then it just absorbs up into another person that's still in it. But long story short, it's still out there, and sometimes you might forget to take something down, and the next thing you're getting a message saying, hey, this sounds great. And you have to, scratch your head as to what the heck they're talking about, because you haven't had any interaction with it, for a long, long time. But very much of the time, that information can stay almost evergreen. And what I mean by evergreen, yet another term that if you're familiar with it, great. And if you're not, it's information that kind of stays the same no matter when you see it. So it doesn't have a season attached to it. It doesn't have a day of the week or a time of the day attached to it. It doesn't have a, I guess, a theme, if you will. It's just kind of info that, like, as an example, Ed's an appraiser, and he'll go out and take a picture of a neighborhood, that he's in, and it could be Federal Hill, where the Star Spangled Banner was written, and he might put something like, if you want to learn about Federal Hill and all the tips and tricks of visiting it, click here. Well, that's a very evergreen statement, and the reason why is it's pretty assured that they're not going to get rid of Federal Hill, so it's probably going to be that way. Of course, in this culture, Lord only knows.
Yeah, there's some who knows nowadays.
Maybe
But
they'll figure out something that's racist and horrible about Federal Hill and dump all the cannons in the ocean.
yeah,
I'll say that and nothing else.
that's cool.
Anyway, and by the way, not just racist, just a problem. Something that just doesn't jive. It just seems like our history is being rewritten here. But anyway, guys, with that said, the whole idea of evergreen and having those different things out there, kind of working for you and doing a job for you, is that you're able to work and not worry about doing it yourself. So this program, Groove, does that and much more. So anyway, that's the Look at that blessed man.
Yeah,
Um,
man. You knew that.
yeah, very blessed.
Um,
So that is the concept, behind that, and maybe you guys are interested, maybe not, but so Ed, you wanted to get going early today. What you got? What you got shaking?
I'm doing a little work around the house here, and I got to I want to try to get something done. I was out doing some appraisal work this morning. Something to do, I have to say though, Wes. We talk about it, but you talked about Ray and a lot of the top guys out there, and being in real estate and appraising real estate, the key, the old saying is, what are the three biggest things about buying a house or real estate? And it's location, location, location. So where you're located, where it's located, and what neighborhoods or wherever, and um, the same is with digital marketing. You know what I mean? It's location, location, location. It's getting your message out to the right people in the right way and using the best ways to do it. Like I said, we talked about this years ago. You could have the greatest looking website in the whole wide world, selling the greatest products in the whole wide world. But if nobody ever sees it, you're not going to sell much of your products. Just like if it was a mall that was located in, say in the middle of the some desert or something. It might be a nice mall, but maybe nobody will ever go there. You know what I mean? So anyway, that's what this is all designed to do. Get your message out there in a concise way, and connect you on a lot of the social platforms so that you can be found.
Yeah, and every single piece that you put out there is digital real estate, guys, and
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
the thing that you need to keep in mind is that Google is constantly crawling, looking, for something
Hmm.
that like I'll give you a great example of something to think about with Groove in mind, and that is they talk about having video storage on the Groove platform. So you think, well, that's great. I'll put my videos on there and I'll serve them from the Groove uh, um, servers. I would caution against doing that exclusively. And I'm going to tell you why. It's great to store them there. There's nothing wrong with that. But in case something ever goes, sideways with rented space, and what I mean by that is YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, the places that you're on that you really don't have any control of, even here on apps. It's a great platform, but if somebody decides one day that you are not wanted any longer, they will bounce you, and you have nothing, no recourse whatsoever, and every connection that you have is gone. So, which will bring up another point real quick, and then I'll cut this short, Ed, because I know you're in the mode to
And
get other
no, it's
stuff.
all good. No, I just wanted to try to get it on. I figured if we
Yeah,
could get on early instead of waiting to one, that'd be cool.
but I
So,
will. I'll talk forever. You know me. But so two things with that said. One is the biggest two search engines in the world right now, pretty much are Google and YouTube, and they are going to have a extreme uh, um, leaning toward putting up their own information. So if you go into Groove and you link a Facebook or a YouTube video to your page, then what's going to end up happening is it's going to have a much higher likelihood of Google wanting to put that funnel up, or that blog or whatever it is that you're linking to, because they want to get that revenue from the Google ads and the different just Google everything. I mean,
yeah,
so
they want to use their own
yeah,
properties.
exactly. So and it's free, so why wouldn't you use it? So if especially if you're putting out quality content, I would highly, 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 highly suggest that you use YouTube, because again, Google is just going to throw all sorts of love towards it. But the next thing is something else I mentioned, and then we'll wrap it up for the day, Ed. And that is when you are on these platforms, it doesn't matter if it's apps, if it's um, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, any of those different platforms, your idea and your overall arching idea mindset should be to get them off of those platforms and into something where you can converse with them and engage with them. And by the way, just in case you don't, think that's a good idea just for yourself, think of a business. Okay, every time a business has somebody come in, if they don't capture their information, then it's the first time they've ever been a customer every time. And so if they come in next time and they don't get their information taken down, the next time they come in, it's their first time. And what I mean by that is this, guys, there's a lot of people out there vying, especially now, for your dollar. They're operating at 30 and 50% capacity. They just went through the worst time probably that they'll ever face as business. Short of just literally shutting down, and they need your business. Okay, so if the place you're going isn't saying, "Hey, Ed, hey Wes, fill out this quick little form on your phone and get a free drink or a insider menu or whatever the tripwire is that they're providing, and then marketing out and saying, hey Ed, it's Tuesday. Do you have a place to go for dinner tonight? Bring your family, and you buy 3 meals and you get the fourth one free or half price, or you get unlimited salad bar with every entree that you purchase, or whatever. I mean, whatever it is, whatever tripwire
Yeah.
that they're putting out there, and they need that. You
Yeah.
need that. So, um, Ed,
Yeah.
several years ago, you were telling me about a place down the road from you that said that their monthly nut was like $30,000 or $40,000. What
Oh,
were it?
yeah. Yeah. It's crazy, just to, it's weird. You don't like, even like, you go by a little barber shop in a strip mall and you're thinking, okay, well, you know, but some of them strip malls, depending upon the stores in there, they're not the biggest place in the world, but they're, you got like, some of them are $2,500 a month in rent or more. Then you got gas and electric. You got, heat, and insurance, and then employees and whatever. So just a little guy is probably at least 10 grand a month. You know what I mean, or 8 grand. So you gotta. That's before you do cut one of these little hairs up here on my head. You know what I mean, Wes? So yeah, and yeah, we talk about that. I just saw something on the it clicked on the internet, and they said that, and I didn't even know where it was. I think it's in somewhere in London, but it's Sticky Fingers. One of the Rolling Stones had a restaurant, was in business 32 years, closed down. And they said he's devastated about it, but he said, and I'm figuring the guy in the Rolling Stones, he ought to have some deep pockets, I would imagine, or fairly deep. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I guess you get to a point where you just can't keep throwing money at, to keep something open, no matter
Yeah,
who
you
you are.
can't. They're not being altruistic, and having
Yeah.
that stuff open. I
Oh,
mean, I know that Robert De Niro, the actor, I think the Nobu sushi restaurant is his. So yeah,
yeah.
you gotta act in a lot of movies, in order to keep the doors open.
Yeah.
When you're talking about a location like that, because it's not a place that's in the one of the boroughs. It's in downtown Manhattan, and L.A. and places that I'm sure they have them overseas. So you're talking about a high traffic, high dollar real estate, not to mention all the staff. And when you're talking about restaurants, especially with fish, it's got a very, very high turnover of food. That you can only serve it for so long.
Oh, yeah.
So I mean, so you're just talking about a lot of expense.
Yeah.
So it's just something that if you don't have butts and seats, you and those kind of places aren't necessarily the kind of places that we're talking about, guys. I'm sure that De Niro doesn't get a text saying, "Hey, the pizza joint down the street is selling pizza." I think they're probably okay, but
Right.
you and I, and they might, I don't know what they get, but it's not necessarily the Nobu type places that we're talking about. We're talking about the mom and pop bar. We're talking about the Mexican restaurant, that's down the street from you, or like Ed said, the barber that I'll give you a great example. Ed was talking about the cost of being in a strip mall or wherever. But a lot of times the owners of those places will also rent out the chairs. So
Yeah, they have like 3 or 4 barbers, and they
exactly,
or they give them half the whatever. If you
yeah,
get $20 a head,
that's
you get
exactly
10
right.
for every head, and he gives you 10. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So yeah,
So if you're renting, if you're Ed and he decides that he's going to be a barber, and he says that hey, I got a shave coming in at 12 o'clock for Wes Wyatt, and I send him a message at 10 till, and I say, hey Ed, I'm sorry brother, but I can't be there. Well then he's got that time slated out, has been telling people no, for the week, and now he's stuck standing there, looking at his mirror. Well, if you had a text or an email program and you had a group of loyal customers, you could send out a message that says, "Hey, do any of your kids or you need a haircut or shave or whatever?" And you might actually have someone say, "Hey, man, I was just trying to get in and couldn't get in anywhere." And message you back. Can I be there in 5 minutes? You bet. So it's little things like that you really don't think about. That it's very low hanging fruit in the form of businesses that you'd never think. Anybody that needs to have either walk in traffic or regular clients or just marketing in the simplest of a very small page or something that just gives them a little notoriety. I'll give you a great example of that. From a low end and from a high end. A low end is maybe a park where you want to know the hours. Okay, but it could be. And Alexa's going to
I'm
talk
having
here.
trouble connecting to the internet. Take a look at the help section in your Alexa app.
You got it, babe. So I don't know what triggered her, but anyway, the that could be something simple. But I'm going to give you two things. One I just mentioned, but the other one is a phone number, and the second thing is hours. Um, Sometimes all you want to know is, are they still open, and an actual number. So like it could be something like a doctor's office or a dentist office or whatever. All you want to know is how to actually contact them, not the hospital that they're associated with, not the group that they're part of, where you have to go into an endless loop of automated messages to finally get to the place that you're going, or just know, are they still open? A movie theater or whatever. I just want to know the hours and how to contact you. That's it. Nothing else. So that's the kind of stuff that you can tell people, and especially in that aspect, say something to them to the effect of, what's something that I call them should ask questions. And by the way, it's not mine. That's a Mike Koenig, 10 by 10 by 4. He would say, find 10 frequently asked questions and then find 10 should ask questions, SAQ. And ask the people, listen, what's 10 things that you wish people knew? Because invariably, if you listen to the um, automated message, from those places, a lot of times they'll give you that what you're looking for. Like if you're calling about hours, choose number one. If you're, trying to find out about employment, choose two. So if you could put that information into a website for them, they might say, yeah, I'll pay whatever, hey, what's up, Cookie? I'll pay whatever it costs, to be in your group and have that information. So just low hanging fruit, is what it's about. So, Cookie, you just joined us. If you go to the top of the chat here, you'll see a link for the number one funnel builder. Click on that link and get yourself a free account on there. You'll like that. You'll like that groove. That's what we're going to be doing training on starting next week. But anyway, Ed, I told you I can talk forever. You know that.
That's all good.
Anybody?
We did
What
good.
else you got?
You know what? I had a thought, and then for some reason it went somewhere. But yeah, I guess like we were saying, all these small businesses, they and especially at this point in time, they're probably down to the bare bones staff, and just some of these, this something as simple as this that they can go in and spend, or even have somebody do it for them, and spend a half hour to an hour and get this set up. If they could start getting it out on social media and things and bringing in customers, it's got the potential to be a lifesaver. You know what I mean, as far as these go. And and the other thing I was thinking about, just real quickly, you look at all these businesses, and we just had right not far from our about the next exit down, they had a Subway, a little Subway shop, Subway franchise shop. And I don't know what happened, but somebody that worked there did something stupid. This is before COVID, I think, right going into COVID. And I don't know, it just, the word kind of got out on social media, and I can't even remember what it was, but it just kind of set off some sort of a thing, and they're no longer in business. You know what I mean? And I'm sure COVID didn't help it. You know what I mean? But so, I drive by that little office complex there that had the Subway in it. And now I see four lease. It's like four places, and they got five in a row there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the other thing that we know, we were talking years ago, we met this fella, and you probably remember his name, Wes, but I can't. I think was it Robert Akers? Was that his name? The Papa John guy, or no?
Yeah, that's exactly who it was.
Yeah. Okay. And you think, okay, one Subway shop or one Papa John's, and you're rolling in the dough. But we got to talking to the guy, and the guy was
No
like,
pun intended, right?
oh, yeah, no, either that or the sauce, one of the two. But in Wes's case, he likes the cheese, so we got to go where it is. But
That's right.
yeah, no. But Robert was saying, he was around Athens, Georgia, a college town, and for him to really make a good living, he had to have four shops. So he actually had four Papa John's restaurants surrounding Athens, Georgia. I've never been there, well, actually, I have been there. I went to a Olympic women's soccer game there at their Georgia Stadium. So I guess that was in the 96. My gosh, many moons ago, Wes. But anyway, but I didn't drive around the town. So, I just went to the stadium, got there, and left. What I'm saying is, so he probably had them east, west, north, south, prime locations. But, it took four restaurants, so that means he had to have three other managers who he had to manage, plus employees, plus, to make a fairly good living at, a six-figure income. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of what you're talking about here. So every dollar counts, and the best way to market and get the results really counts and makes a difference too.
Yeah, and one of the things about Robert that was funny is he brought a couple of things to my attention that I never really thought of, and the biggest of which is, as the owner, he gets paid last.
Oh yeah. If you got employees and you got a weekly check, you got to get their checks out, and then hopefully there's enough left over. So
yeah, and he used text marketing when text marketing was brand new.
Yeah,
and it was so new that it bordered actually on when people were still being charged for text messaging. So, right on the cusp. So, a lot of the things that we've done over the years has been before it should have been mainstream. Video
Yeah.
is definitely one of them. You and I have been involved in video since the day that I've known you, and I think we figured out the other day that was, uh,
2007,
yeah, so
November.
14 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so 14 years, and I was involved in it way before then. So yeah, I remember vividly the day that MySpace was allowing video, and you could, instead of just having a post, you could put video on MySpace, and I was on video before then.
Hmm.
So MySpace is clearly gone the way of the dodo. So at least in the form of a social network, I think it might be music based or something now.
Yeah, I'm
But
not sure. To tell you the truth.
I
Yep.
haven't been on there in forever and a day. But long story short, all this stuff that we're talking about is now kind of finding its perfect jam. I mean,
Yeah.
it's kind of like the Haps guys and girls, getting $4.7 million, of funding. It's now people see the value of being able to tell a story. One of the things I always say jokingly, although it's true, is I'm no Brad Pitt. So why would I use this mug if it wasn't me? Yeah, I mean, this is not a filter. You don't find the big bald guy filter. It doesn't work that way. There's not a Chippendale dancer behind this filter. But the thing that happens with that is you can look at Ed and you can look at me, and we can have the exact same offer. We can bring Cookie Johnson, who's watching in, and she can have the exact same offer, and people will find the person that is more fitting for them, even though you have the same message, the same opportunity, and we're all carbon based people. they
Yeah.
will still,
We're going to
you know
resonate with somebody. So
they
yeah.
resonate with somebody. So
Yeah.
it's kind of why there's a Lowe's next to every Menards, and a Walmart next to every Kroger or whatever. I mean, there's always that Burger King next to McDonald's, and they still stay in business. And the reason why is because people have a different take. I mean,
Yeah.
so it's not a bad thing. It just is what it is. I mean, I walked around Seattle one time in Pioneer Square down there, and I think that standing in one location, I could see 7 coffee shops, 4 of which were Starbucks, and that is the honest truth. I mean, all within eye shot of each other. So it's just how it works. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know why it works that way, but it does. So now
Oh,
is it? Oh, go ahead, Ed.
no, no. Well, here's my thoughts, Wes. Just something that I just thought about. But we're talking about a Subway franchise. We're talking about a Papa John's franchise, or say you have your little bar down the street or your Mexican restaurant, right? We're talking a good bit of capital to start that up. You know what I mean? We're talking a fair amount of capital to, you got to lease the property. You got to probably do some infrastructure improvements to make it to where you want it to be, and whatever the case may be. And now in 2021, you can kind of start a business on the internet with in the big scheme of things on a shoestring. You know what I mean? I mean, you don't need a lot of capital. You know what I'm saying? You can, if you have a message, you can get a following. I was just listening to your Wes introduced me to the Morning Miracle, and I can't I don't know the man's name. It's just not clicking in my head.
Hal Elrod.
Yeah, Hal Elrod. So anyway, I told Wes what I've been doing is I enjoy reading, but I'm in the car a lot, so I got Audible, so I download these books that I like to listen to. So I just downloaded his new book, and like he was saying, he had the goal of selling 1 million books, and basically get 1 million followers. And he was working on a shoestring at the time. You know what I mean? But he had the thought process. So anything, any idea, anything you want can happen if you focus on it, and on these platforms, and have the right, like you said, have the right platform behind you to streamline your efforts.
Well, I mean, look at this as an example. There's people that are on apps that get a amount of money thrown their way in the form of a high or a sponsorship or something like that. So if you go with the concept that Kevin Kelly has of 1,000 true fans, then what he talks about is if you have fans that average $100 per year in revenue from having them as a fan, that they will net you $100,000 a year. So you got to figure that there's people right here on Haps that I was watching a couple guys last night, the Weirdo and the Beardo, or Beardo and Weirdo. They're absolutely positively electric to watch and fun, and they had their counter up at the top of the screen, and it's for $500, and I think they were at 60% capacity for the month. So you got to figure that that they are taking that concept and really kind of living it. I mean, because even though that's all of Haps combined that had gotten them to that point, if they would just message out and say, listen guys, we also have a VIP club, and it's going to be you'd think I'd know what this would be. So let me you see me yawning, Ed.
Don't you dare. Don't you do
it. If we're looking at $100 a month or a year, we're looking at $8.34 a month. Okay, so let's say you made it $10 a month, and you had 1,000 people that were to pop in from Haps. Next thing you know, or Haps, and let's say Haps, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter, and LinkedIn. Okay, and every one of those fans were to pay $10 a month to be part of the Weirdo and the Beardo, whatever, podcast.
I guess I'll be Weirdo and you could be Beardo, Wes.
I think you'd be Weirdo. So, but they would be making $100,000 a month or a year, from that, and that is a very conservative, outlook, because there's probably people that buy merch. There's probably people that share, and then they bring on another, 1,000 people, and Hal Elrod, if he has a million fans, which he may very well. I mean, he may have sold 1 million of those books.
No, he did. That's what I'm saying. He sold 1 million books. I bought his last book, which was I already got the other books, but a couple of the other books, but he's got a new one out. And I can't pretend to. Here, I'll tell you in a minute what the name is, because I got it on my 1 second, buddy.
Well, I can tell you a book, that I have that's called How Money Works, and I know that it's in its $300,000 or $400,000 or 300,000 or 400,000 printing. So
Can you see that, Wes? Probably not. No, it says
Miracle something
equation. Anyway,
equation.
That's on my Audible.
And by the way, guys, I'm gonna let you into a little.
That's his new one. That's his new. That's his newest one, which kind of gives you a little different thought process on his Miracle Morning take. You know what I mean? So, yeah. And he did mention, if you yawn a lot, that you should be reading his book.
Yeah. I should be. I think that's the problem.
You're staying up too late and reading. I know how it is.
Something. But the thing that people need to know,
I'm gonna send Wes a hammock. He can lay in a hammock while we're doing the show.
yeah, I need it. I need it. I'm a mess. But the thing that I find amazing about books is, at the end of the day, guys, you need to realize something. I don't think that there is a bunch of money in books. I really don't. I think books are a lot like records. If you ask any band where the money's at, it's not in selling records. It's in touring. They make all their money touring. So they sell merch and they sell.
Yeah, I think in the day it probably was, a little more, back in the day when, you could sell an album or, you used to sell single 45 records. I think there was some money in that but now with, Pandora and all these, I mean, I know they got to give somebody a cut of money somewhere, but, there's a lot of, what would you call, I hate to say it, but, people stealing intellectual property. You know what I mean? Like people just
is, but
download. What was the old? What was it? What was that?
Napster.
Yeah. That was where people could just download a whole album or a song or whatever, and nobody's going to pay for nothing. So yeah, that's kind of some crazy stuff. But anyway,
books are tripwires.
If you look at what they're doing, that's what I was going to say. It's the first part of your funded proposal.
Yep, it really is.
And the other thing, it's designed to give you authority.
Well,
like if somebody sees you wrote a book,
yep,
then they're thinking, "Oh my God, he wrote a book. He's got to know what the hell he's talking about."
Yeah.
I mean, honestly. So, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, hey,
you can write a book for about $3,000 and do it very, very correctly.
Oh.
I mean,
where is it? I got it.
It's really not. It's not a very hard.
No, here it is. I've been. My buddy. I'll give him a shout out. My buddy Jeffrey Combs. But I just got his book, Wes. If you could, where the hell is it? There it is. I don't even know where it is. But can you see that, buddy?
You gotta go the other direction.
Okay.
The anger factor.
Yeah, letting go of unresolved anger and issues. So I'm still working on that, Wes. Wes knows me for about how many years I've been working on that, Wes?
I know probably ever since I met you.
Yeah, probably pretty close. Well, I think when we first met is when I had a fair amount of anger issues and Wes knows I went through a few things, but dealing with, so I had to get patient and not quite as angry. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I worked on that and I'm doing good, but I saw Jeffrey came out with that book and I like supporting Jeff. So he don't like to be called Jeff. I like supporting Jeff Free. And anyway, unequivocally, right, Wes?
Unequivocally.
Yes. And one of Jeffrey's favorite words. But yeah, so I just bought it and I started reading it. It's a quick read, good read, but it triggers, gets your mind thinking, So anyway.
But you can go through like Amazon and I think their program's called Book Baby, if I'm not mistaken. But they'll print it, literally,
okay.
on demand.
So
you don't have to send out a book, buy. You can when you first sign up, get.
Oh yeah, you don't have to pay for 25,000 or first printing and all that.
They'll print a book when someone orders it, which is amazing.
Yeah, I know.
So it's just you can get a box of 150 to hold up and send out and do a book party, which if you know Russell Brunson, it works. The whole concept of getting somebody in for the book and then saying, hey, by the way, I also have this training and it's $200.
You don't even pay for the book, right, Wes? You pay for the shipping, so he charged you about $10 for shipping, $9.95 or some number, and so yeah. So and I'm sure he has in my mind, and probably the way I would do it, which is the wrong way to do it, is I would have a stack of books here, and then I'd be printing them out, run them to the post office. But I'm sure Russell has some sort of clearinghouse or whatever you would call it that just they got his book sitting on a shelf, and he 10 orders come in and 10 orders go out. And in the meantime, they're doing 50 other books, you know?
Well, and the genius of that, in that particular example is, if you use postage.com or whatever the hell they call it, there's 100 of them, stamps.com, I think.
Yeah.
You can have a printer label on your desk and quite literally, whip a book out and write, a couple of little things in a marker, and then, have it already stuffed where you can slide the book in, close the envelope, and then whip that label on it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good thing. I mean, you know what's crazy, Wes? I was just thinking about that. I bought some, I probably bought, I don't even know how many at the time, but we'll just say 50 Forever stamps. And I'm going to say I bought them 5 years ago. I think I have probably 25 of those stamps still left. So that kind of tells you how many letters I've been sending or pieces of mail. You know what I mean?
So I got 75 hard in the mail
Oh, man.
yesterday. Okay.
Okay.
And on it, I just want to show you a couple things just so you know the marketing. Now, I want you guys to know, I think Andy Frisella is a great guy. But if you look on that, you see it's from Andy Frisella, right? The writing.
Uh-huh.
Well, what you need to know is that is printed on the paper. Okay,
Right.
so it looks like
He wrote it.
Yeah, but it's not. So then, in addition, there is a QR code in there, for another thing. Okay, so if I QR code that, it's going to give me the latest episode of the podcast. Then it's got a link for all the merch.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, and on the back, it's got the link for the app. Okay.
Wow.
So what you got to realize is that when you have this, as I try to kill my computer, I'll bring it back. I guess it's this way. I'm doing the same thing you did, Ed. So this is a hardback. So it's not this is actually not a cheap book. I mean, the books that you would get in that book, baby. And by the way, Amazon, I am not trying to disparage your name, but it's going to be a softback book. Now I suppose they probably do have the hardback choices, but it's going to be more. And I don't have one sitting here. I normally have 100 books sitting around, but it's going to be more. I think probably like the one you have in front of you, Ed. That soft cover, where it's glue bound, I should say.
Yeah.
So, but what you want to think about, guys, is if you put go and have a bookmark made, which is kind of like those little postcards that are in there, and maybe a sticker that you put that's a sticker that you could put in and like pre-sign. They call those oh gosh, what do they call those? Markers, maybe? I don't know. It's an insert. I can't think what it's called to save my life, but they pre-sign them and then put them in. So they're not personalized, but you still get their signature. Whatever it's called, I can't think of the insert name of that, but you could turn let's say $3,000 investment where you get, say, 100 books shipped to you and printed, and then they have them on queue, ready to go, and then set it up to where you get 100 people out there. I'll give you a great example of that is when they launched Harry Potter at Universal Studios. They didn't bring in the public. That what they did is they went out and they found a bunch of Harry Potter insane maniacs, that had Harry Potter blogs, Harry Potter fan clubs, all the different Harry Potter cosplay people that would go and play Harry Potter cosplay at these Comic-Cons and all that kind of stuff. They brought them in and they give them the first chance to meet the stars, meet see the different attractions and ride them and walk through and do videos and pictures and all that stuff. And guess what happened? It sold Universal Studios out for months, after it opened, all from, I think it was like, 70 people, that they allowed to go through. So if you were to get a book out, and like Ed said, you do nothing but charge for shipping. So if you have 100 books and you charge 500, or $5 for shipping, you get 500. If you charge $10, you got 1,000. So you've already got a little bit of your money back. But then what happens is, like what Ed said, is you got the book credibility that you can start to build other stuff off of. And the next thing you know, people want to have you on their podcast as an author. You're talking to other authors. It's a big steamrolling thing. But
something, yeah. The other thing too, Wes, that what we know about, and I mean, a lot of people don't know about, is you start JVing with people too. You know what I mean? Like, there's 10 other guys doing the same thing as you're doing. So you go on their channel and they, edify you and tell you, buy his book. Then he's on your channel, and then you're cross marketing. The next thing you know, you found 10 different audiences by going on all these different people's channels.
Well, and the other thing,
so some of them join you. You know what I mean? You're not going to get every person on that guy's channel, but there might be, like I said, you might go on 10 different channels, and 100 people come on your channel because all of a sudden you're really connecting with them with your message, where maybe the other guy was kind of connecting with them, but not quite as much as you are. So, that's the way things happen.
Well, I'm going to give you one last thing, and then I will let you go, because I know you
That's
got
all cool.
things to do today.
We've been doing good, man.
There's a book that I don't have sitting here, but it's a tax book. And I was at a convention one time, and the guy held the book up. He said, "This book, is a book that will, let you know every, tax loop, and all you have to do is literally take it to your accountant, show it to him, and say, I want to take advantage of this, this, and this, and they'll have the tax code and everything, ready to go." He said, and it's going to save you, all sorts of money by having your own business. Well, the book was $20, and he said, but and I watched $20 bills come out, around the whole building, and hundreds of them, and that's not an exaggeration. So he said, if you'll allow me an extra 10 minutes, let me tell you a little something about something I have called Behind the Book. Okay, and what it is for the next 5 weeks in a row, I will do a live question and answer on the phone. This is before video was out in the way it is now. It was nothing like this, but like this is even pre-Zoom and stuff. But I can't even imagine what he would do now. But he would go through and he would literally go chapter by chapter, and he would stop and answer questions. Chapter by chapter, stop and answer questions. Go to the next week, same thing. And then when he was done, the 5th week was for overage, like additional questions or tips and tricks that he hadn't covered in the book or whatever. But long story short, him going through, with the masses, if you will. Now, keep in mind, the masses, quote unquote, if I sell it to Ed and I have to get on the phone and do it, for the next five weeks, or if Ed and 1,000 other people take me up on the offer, is it gonna affect my time or my efforts any different?
Yeah.
No, the answer is no. Okay, so it's genius move on his part. Well, that program with the book was $100. Okay, so how many 20s do you think I saw get switched to hundreds? I would say 95% of them, and that is no joke. So he goes from convention to convention to convention, selling that book and then doing that pitch, which at the time, without us even knowing it, was a one-time offer, getting people into that program. So let's think about that for a second, and think about if he sells 100 of those, at $100, that's $10,000. Okay. So if you're going with the book concept that I was just talking about, where you get 100 books printed and it costs you $2,500 to $3,000, and then you did that exact same thing that I just said, you could essentially pay for a book by just getting half of the people to come into your, and not even half, 30, 40%, to come in and do a behind the scenes deep dive with you into the book for $100. And then not only that, but I'll bet you $1 to a donut. You could then say as an upsell to that, if you really want to jump in to the VIPs, it's $14.95 a month, and you'll be on the cutting edge, and not only what I have in this book, but my upcoming book and my upcoming offer and my upcoming whatever. You're going to be in the insider group, and there's going to be a group of people that are going to take you up on that as well. And then what happens is, with that concept, you're going to be able, when you do the next book, you don't do 100 copies, you do 500 copies, because now that group has grown and told other people. So the possibilities are goofy, endless.
Well,
but the beauty
so,
of it is you got to start.
We know, we're fortunate enough to have met some people and know some people, and one of them is Russell Brunson, and I think he did a 60-minute presentation and made $3 million. I think his one presentation, he sold $3 million worth of product in a 60-minute presentation. So if these things are done right, and the thing is, probably not many people know of Russell Brunson. Some of the people in the internet space do, or the digital marketing space. Most people do know Russell Brunson, and I got his book sitting here too. That's while I'm at it. While we're telling everybody books, I got to get it right. There we go. Where the hell am I going here again? There it is. Expert Secrets, right? Well, that's Russell Brunson. But
Expert Secrets.
Yeah, man. But anyway, Russell, we talk about him, and that's one of the books that he gives away for shipping, right?
Yeah.
But we talk about him, and Russell, after he did that, was sought out by Tony Robbins. A lot of big name people that you would think they could figure out how to do these things, but they went to Russell, because he understands the process, so pretty cool.
It's super cool. And it's something that I think if people would really internalize it and start to think, where could this go for me? By the way, guys, I'm not telling you to start off with a book.
No.
But you got something in you that's a passion, or a cause that you want to get out, that you could very simply be a influencer in by just quite simply stating that you are on a regular basis. And then if you have the ass to back it up, then at that point, you go from being a poser, to people going, you know what? I wondered in the beginning, but Ed actually knows, everything he said about appraising, or Wes knows everything he was talking about, marketing and, yourself. And a lot of times, unfortunately, that's all it takes. I mean, is somebody getting in front of you all the time. When I was a kid, I'd turn on the TV on Saturday mornings and late at night, and I'd have two people, actually three people. One we just mentioned, Tony Robbins, with his personal power tapes, cassette tapes, in the color-coded box set, that would come to you, and then it moved on to CDs and DVDs. But the other two was a gentleman by the name of Dave Delgado.
Yeah,
tell you how to buy and sell real estate. And
Carlton Sheets
would do real estate, and then the other guy was the Tiny Classified Ads. Don Dupree. Tiny Classified Ads.
Tiny.
And so were they experts? You know, do you know anybody that knows Carlton Sheets? Was he out every day hustling real estate? Was Dave Delgado hustling real estate? Was Don LaPree placing tiny classified ads?
Just
I
think,
don't know. I would guess no. I guess they made a hell of a lot more money telling people how to do it rather than doing it. But they did. You know,
hey,
so
Wes.
yeah.
And then if you were done watching them, you bought a Pocket Fisherman, didn't you?
The Pocket Fisherman and Sham Wows
Shit.
and yeah, I'm the worst. I'll tell you.
That's why Wes's head's so shiny, because he bought them Sham Wows.
That's right.
He
That's
buffs
right.
it up before he gets on.
I'm the worst person in the world for those things because I want all of them. I think I need to. You know, I'm like, I want to cook a whole chicken. You know, I mean, all that stuff seems great to me.
Yeah.
But
anyway, brother,
I think I still have my Sham Wows literally tied up in the garage the exact way that I bought them, you know, because I saw a guy dump a 2 liter of soda on the carpet and suck it up. And I was like, I need that. Never had it happen, but just in case I bought
just in
them.
case.
So, but anyway, I know that you.
Okay, brother. I will see you, man.
Absolutely. And I will.
We had fun today. It was a good Saturday.
Yes, indeed. So,
okay, brother.
guys, I will talk to you later on behalf of myself and Ed. Have a dynamite day.
Yeah, man.